Ta-da! Cleaning Lego. Is there any greater joy in the world? If there is, I certainly didn't find it. Just want to take a moment now on this video just quickly to talk about cleaning in this particular video pre-assembled Lego models, ones that are absolutely filthy. I'm not talking about zipping over them with a vacuum cleaner today. I mean some that are caked in pure and utter filth, through no fault of my own, may I just say. Also, I'm looking and talking about classic Lego here. I'm not talking about the new generation of Minecraft or Harry Potter that's simply impossible to swallow pre-molded, fabricated pieces. I'm talking about the real stuff. Classic, vintage type of Lego. None of these, of course. These are all still in the boxes. We'll come to that in another video. But in the meantime, sit back and enjoy this with my 3 favorite Technics models. So you've got some Lego models to clean, ones that have been on display. In my case, some that have been on display for quite some time. They were in Queensland, Australia, a high humidity area with the door open for the breeze to come through. 3 King Charles Cavalier Spaniels with their little fur and dander blowing around the place, a high traffic area, and they've been sitting in this neglect for about 20 years. They're strictly ornamental. I mean, they do still work, but as you can imagine, some of the pipes, particularly on the Airclaw Tech rig here, particularly like my as I was doing it, you can see here the belt broke. It's just deteriorating. That's fair enough. But I just love these models, and we're going to bring them back. Now, the truck I've just done, and here are some earlier pictures of before and after. And even though people use these vacuums to clean them, that's really not much chop for me because that's for loose dust. This stuff is absolutely caked on. I mean, I could take a toothbrush right now, give it a wiggle, and I'm not doing much, and that's even been done. So I had to take it through with this one. It's a matter of using several brushes, a little bit of water, and it's clean, clean, clean. Black is the worst. This is real Lego, when it was really seriously cool stuff. The problem is with the Technic stuff, as you can imagine, the black's a great example. There's the little holes, so while I can go around cleaning around here, then I've got to get in it. Now here's a little example just here. You'll notice I did one, but there's still a lot more to go. Now I'll probably give them, they're now going into a mostly dust-free environment that will be sealed up, and it'll only need a light dust with a vacuum cleaner from then on. But in the meantime, we'll get on with the cleaning and see how we go. Now, I say real Lego, I didn't mean to be disrespectful in any way. All I'm saying is that even with the excavator, for example, there's a lot of Lego have moved into a lot of sort of prefabricated, smooth types of bits. I'm from the old school, playing with a lot of the 70s and 80s sets that came out, and moving on into the 90s. And as a result, a lot of it was just bricks. So it just seems a little more fiddlier. All the videos I've been seeing on YouTube and that about tips for cleaning them, it's all on new stuff. And to be honest, it's not even old enough to get dirty. So this is a bit of a nuisance job. Just these 3 key models. You'll see others throughout videos that I'll shoot, but these are 3 main ones that I love to have on display. I think they're probably 3 of my absolute favorite Technics models ever. So I at least want them to be displayable again for the most part. They're going to be sitting high on a top shelf and right beside their boxes. And hopefully they come up all right. They don't have to be perfect. Obviously there will be some discoloration. I can't really help that. But I'll do my best just to get into the nooks and crannies a bit. The worst case scenario, if I had to just try and find another set or strip it down and rebuild it again, well, there's always that too. So, what are we using to clean them with? Well, for the ideal thing, we would take it all apart, pop it in the water and give it a good scrub, as most pieces do. The pre-assembled stuff like this, a little more complicated. I take apart key sections as needed. Where I can, I like to just mix up a little bit of a container here. Now this looks rather putrid, and I won't lie to you. At the end of the day, this was just dishwashing liquid with some hot soapy water. And then that's just from doing this truck from where we're up to now, dipping a brush in, going through it, and then spiraling it around, trying to get things loosened up a little bit. And I could come through with toothbrush where I can and give it a nice little scrubby in there, and that's quite smooth. I then obviously use a series of these cotton buds, or Q-tips, I think the Americans call them, where I go in and try and get through. The best thing is once that's a little bit wet, you can get in, but then you do want another drier piece to then just go around the surround of the little holes where possible. Once it's a bit wet, it just pops in and out quite nicely. Does a good job. Of course, it can leave a residue, and that's where you've got to go back and redo it again. So a bit time consuming. And then, of course, the other magic little device is some sort of a skewer toothpick, or these are cocktail skewers. And then that's for doing the little holes inside. I have also been experimenting with cutting a cotton bud down, so it's still got a bit of fluffiness to go in. But again, I think if it's just loose enough, it's at the point where once this is done and I come by to do a re-clean in 12 months time or something like that, and I am using a vacuum cleaner brush tool, that will just gently loosen that up and then suck the stuff up that I can't quite get. So at the moment, it might not be perfect, but this is giving it a damn good clean for at least getting it on the shelf. And from the befores and afters, as you can see, can't get much worse now, can it? The truck's about as good as it's going to be. I mean, obviously there's discoloration on the white, and I could always just replace them, but we'll leave them as they are. They're going into a very nice home now, so it'll be just fine. Looks like it's gonna be easy, but there's a lot of fiddly bits to get in, so we'll come to that shortly. Now, the next one we're gonna start on will be, of course, the car. Absolutely love this car. We've had so many different variations, but still to this day, this is the one that sort of sets the standard for me. Obviously, we've got the steering, nothing new there. Lego's been doing that for a while. We've got the independent suspension. Now, I think that's pretty excellent. We've got our 3-speed transmission. And of course, unlike the others, which obviously we moved over to a prefabricated engine block, this is obviously built by bricks. And of course, the most impressive thing that goes without saying, always has been and always will be, we get the pop-up headlights. Oh, that's just brilliant. Now, you can see how filthy this is going to be. The good thing is there's nothing electric or pneumatic in here, so we could actually just dump it into the sink and give it a soak. But I'd rather not do that with the springs. A little bit of overspray from with the brush when I'm just going through it is never a bad thing, because I've got a nice breeze and that would disappear. But let's see what we can come up with. Again, it doesn't have to be complete and utter perfection, but it is going to go into its permanent home, just on display. And magnificent. I mean, again, discoloration. I know it's actually interesting if you look at this wheel and then we go to the other side, that particular wheel still looks incredibly white. Oh, let's get the camera over. But the issue is that we're just going to leave it exactly as it is for a model that's come from that era. Let's see how we go. So it's been a couple of hours later, and indeed, we've got our trusty old rusty fan that's still going the distance. We've got a bunch of these cotton buds or Q-tips, and we're going to leave it to dry. I'll do some before and after later, but I think you can honestly see that has to be an improvement. That's taken at least a minimum 1 hour. On this particular one, a bit longer than that, but at least an hour per model to go through the old-fashioned way. No vacuum cleaners, no magic wand. It's all been done the hard way, and it's really the only way to go. Makes me want to redo the truck again, but as I said before, the purposes, we'll get it all looking good. I think that's passable, and for where it's going to be, you won't get a super-duper close view of it anyway, but that'll be okay. So there you have it. 3 of my favorites. We've seen the before and after. Now a final snap to show them in all their absolute magnificent glory. This now concludes this video. Of course, indeed, I did take the opportunity after all that hard work to decide that those 3 are going to actually get their own display cases. I'm really not in a hurry to want to be cleaning them again, even though they are going to be in this wonderful room that doesn't have any of those dust issues I had to deal with in the past. But we're going to get a specialized shelf made up for them. They're going to be in cases and the boxes will be behind them. Should be magnificent. Until the next video, enjoy.